Seedling people, welcome. Hope everybody is doing well and has not turned into popsicles due to the winter storm if you're in the United States. I'm in Georgia, so we got a little bit of rain, and then now it's cold, but it's sunny, which is a little disappointing because, and I know there are areas that are like, you do not want all this snow, and I know I really don't, but I would like just like a little bit of snow. I think that would be fun, just have like one snow in the winter. But I feel like it's always like you always want what you can't have, right? Like the people who don't get snow want snow, and the people who get a lot of snow are like, you really do not want this. I am really on a roll uploading 2 weeks in a row. But that's just because we're just going to do a little walkthrough today and check in on everything and see how things are doing. If there's anything new or noteworthy, I feel like I'm finally caught up with watering for the time being. So I have a little bit of time just to walk through and appreciate things. So I thought that we would do that together. So I think what I'm going to do is walk through my so I have an open concept home, and my dining room and living room are all kind of like one big room, separated by a sofa. So we're going to go through my main like growing area, which is my dining room technically. And that's where I have my Vitsjo shelf. Why can I never say this? Vitsjo shelf, where I have all of my non-Anthurium plants. And I do have some Anthurium out here also, but anything that's not an Anthurium is out here. I have like 2 or 3 plants in my bathroom at this point, and they're more for like decor. So we're gonna walk through out here first, and then once we're finished out here, we will do a little quick tour of the tent, the grow tent, because I did forget to do that in the last video, and I said I was gonna do it, but I have a really, really chronically terrible memory. So we are just going to do that in this video. Since this is a walkthrough, it makes more sense in this video, Oh yeah, and then I'm going to show you my new little shelf that I set up for my Anthurium seedlings, because I just did my first Anthurium hybrid, and we've got a lot of seeds, and they are growing pretty quickly. They all have their first little roots coming out. So I'm gonna need some room to put all these Anthurium seedlings before too long. So I went ahead and set that up. Glowrium was kind enough to gift me some lights for that setup, and they are bar lights. Previously, the only Glowrium light I have, which maybe you can see right here, the stand of it, it's one of those, this guy right here. It's one of those dual-headed, like circular grow lights, and I love that light. I was incredibly surprised by the quality. Very, very high quality from Glowrium. So I love that. And they sent me some bar lights this time to stick on those shelves for this seedling setup. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience with those. I've had those for maybe like a week now set up, and I just thought it would be fun to try an alternative to Barina, because Barina are like, the standard at this point, and I just wanted to try something a little bit different. But thank you so much to Glowrium for sending me these lights. I appreciate it so much. And we are going to go ahead and get into the walkthrough now. All right, y'all, here we are. Brief overview. If you've never seen this before, this is my like dining type area. So see, dining, living, kitchen, we're all like in the same room. All my plants mostly are over here. This is the Vitsjo shelf from IKEA, this portion of it. This is some random shelf that I had gotten off of Amazon, but it just works with it, fortunately. I don't have a ton of plants on this side. I've got like a couple right here in my orchids, and that's pretty much it, because as you can see, I've got like the windows over here. Obviously this is south and this is east, I believe. So we will just do a quick check-in over here. So we have got my variegated water dragon up top. That one, honestly, I never know how that one is doing, because I think it needs a lot more light than it's getting indoors. I mean, it's doing okay there. It's growing, but it's putting out really small leaves. You can see it just started flowering right there. So I'm harvesting some pollen off of that. Just got a couple of things. My Monstera albo, Borsigiana, so that's the small form, is looking better than it has ever looked. And then this plant right here, this is my Rhaphidophora. I'm not even going to get up there. My Rhaphidophora foraminifera variegated, and I am 99% sure that I'm going to get rid of that plant, because you can kind of see even from the underside how it's like yellowing. It has these yellow spots. that look like almost bacterial or fungal or something. And I'd forgotten that that was the original reason, like part of the reason that I had cut up that plant, the mother plant, they're just cuttings that I'd restarted it from, is because of that weird yellowing. And it's doing it again. So I don't know. I guess it's just that specimen is having issues. But yeah, I think I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to put my Spiritus Sancti on that pole because it is actually growing finally. I've had that plant for years and it's just now starting to grow. Hoya land over here. So this is most of my Hoya, a lot of my Hoyas. I have them on this shelf, and then right over here is doing pretty good. I recently repot all of these. So that is another reason I've been kind of MIA is because I have been working through repotting all of this here. Yeah, you can see that is a lot of work. All of these also. Just because I've had these Hoyas for a really long time. And when I originally had gotten them, the mix that I had potted them in was not the best mix. You know, it was kind of like I'm a newbie to owning plants type mix. So I'm just going to throw it in whatever I got. So I have repotted them in, if you can see in there, like a orchid bark, tree fern, orchiata type deal. Kind of the same thing as what I have my Anthurium in. And I feel like they're going to do much better in there, but it's just kind of like a time will tell thing because they're just now starting to kind of bounce back from where I had uprooted everybody and switched that substrate out. Some are not doing super well. Like I have my Denisii Frida. This side of it is looking kind of crusty. The other side is looking okay. So, you know, we're just going to kind of see how that turns out. I do also have another cutting of that one that has grown pretty much as tall as this side. So if like all of this dies off, I'll probably just take that out and put the other cutting in here and it'll regrow from that. That is a very vigorous grower. I'm assuming the regular Denisii, the non-variegated version, is even more vigorous without the variegation. But yeah, she is a super duper fast grower. And then we got a couple of cool new leaves. So that is my, what are you? Lampion red. And it is really sun stressed under the Barinas. I do have Barinas on the shelf. My Lambii, which is just the craziest looking Hoya, but it will not grow. Like it was 2 leaves for a long time, and then 4 leaves for a long time, and then it kind of shot out this vine and killed the top off. But yeah, when it sun stresses, it just gets this really crazy purple color with those veins. It's just insane. Okay, hopefully my noise cancellation is working because Sully is over here chewing the crap out of his bone, and it's so squeaky. So if you hear that in the background, just as always, disregard. He's always chewing on something. Then not a lot to report over here. Surprisingly, this verticillata, what is this? Sulawesii that I got in a long time ago. This has been a really, really difficult plant for me, and it just bounced back really quickly after the repot. So that might have just been kind of what it needed to get going again. Everything else, I don't think there's really much to mention. Things are just growing back. Oh yeah, let me turn this one around. One of my all-time favorite plants, my Dischidia lancifolia, is maybe blooming, maybe getting ready to bloom. I don't know if this is, I've never seen this before. It's like a singular red flower. Yeah, I'm not sure. So it doesn't look open. Like it looks like it would open from here. But I don't really know. It looks really cute though. That little red with the sun stressiness of these leaves. Gosh, come on, light. So cute. So I guess we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, and everything else just bouncing back, I guess. Anything to note in here? No, that's the Caudata that I repot in a plant chores video. I just cut that up because I have really bad root rots. And yeah, not really much to say over there. I did also repot all of these hanging Hoya. I've really been trying to get the things that I've been putting off for a really long time done now that I have consolidated my collection a lot and kind of separated the Anthurium out and stuff. So that was definitely on the list. So I repot all of these. I also repot, try not to give y'all motion sickness, my 2 jungle cactus up there also, which really, really needed it. Yeah, so they are doing really well. This Bertonier, y'all, blooms non-stop. Look at all these blooms. 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 Blooms everywhere. Peduncles everywhere. It is beautiful, and it does smell like buttery popcorn. However, the downside of that is I have little Bertonier blooms all over my house all the time. So yeah, and I put her in this kind of like self-watering type setup, same mix. It just has the wick that goes into the bottom of that and sucks the water up. And then my Carnosa Queen and Princess doing just fine. No one up here seemed to be phased by the repot. They're just kind of vibing. If anything, this one was kind of hydrophobic, so I know it's happy to have access to decent water. Syngonium Chia Pets is looking really good. Variegation is coming through really well. I thought she was going all green on me for a while, so I chopped her up, and I have a bunch of different cuttings in here. And she is just growing all over the place. I did recently chop her again, so we've got like that growth point restarting there, and got a new leaf there. So we'll see. Hopefully the variegation does continue, but geez, this leaf is so pretty. I love that really like highly sectoral mintiness. So pretty. And then this is one of the Anthurium that I have out in ambient. This is one of the, it's like a Clarinervium hybrid. It's a Macrolobium. So I've not had this one for very long. But normally these type of like Clarinervium, I think it's like the Mexican species, are fine with not having super high humidity and like to dry out more. So I'm going to be growing it out here. This one looks really crazy when it gets mature, but I've not had the best of luck with Clarinervium hybrids in the past. So we're going to see what happens with that one, if it actually makes it to maturity. I mean, I guess you never know. This is what has been identified as a coconut orchid. Thank you so much to the person who left the comment and identified that for me. I am so pleased to have found this on clearance at Lowe's. I just love these long wispy leaves. I don't know what it is, like nothing like too special, right? It does look kind of like grass, as I've mentioned before. But I just think it's so cutesy, and it has these little bulbs or pseudo bulbs or whatever sticking up all over the place. And I cannot wait to see what the blooms look like on this one, because I don't think I've ever seen this type of orchid bloom before. So that'll be interesting. My Alocasia, one of the few Alocasia that I have left that is not on death's doorstep or has already croaked. My Odora Batik Blizzard. What is this? So Odora, it's like the minty variegated. I feel like it was called the Blizzard at one point. This has been a really easygoing Alocasia for me, which is surprising because it is really variegated. And I have not had good luck with the Odora. I had a Okinawa Silver before, and that was an incredibly difficult Alocasia for me. And this one's been super easy. It's giving me a new leaf. It's got a bunch of pups down in here. I got a bunch of corms from this one, so I will be listing those probably maybe in the next restock. I think they're about ready to go. My Serpent Silver over here, looking so cute. I am totally in love with this plant. The small leaf appreciation has really come out of nowhere. This one is doing surprisingly well. This is one of the last plants that I had purchased from the Green Escape. And this is not an Aglaonema, but an Adlonema. I cannot remember. I didn't put a tag in it. I can't remember what the like species name is for this one, but it's really beautiful, especially when the leaves come out. It has these like super fluorescent red veins, and the leaf is kind of lime green, and it dies off to this normal green color. It's also like almost a little bit fuzzy on the back, which is interesting. But I just think the growth pattern is really pretty, and it has these kind of like reddish stems. You can kind of see the color in the veins there. But yeah, that one's really pretty. No updates from this Hoya. What is this? Inflata that I love so much with the cool textured kind of bronzy veins. I don't think a lot of stuff on here has changed since last time. My Monstera Burl Marks flame is finally fenestrating. She did get a little damaged there at the bottom from the emerging leaf, but it's looking cute. She is kind of sticking out in all directions because I have her in front of the window and she keeps turning between the grow lights and the window. And then what else do we have going on over here? I recently repot these jewel orchids because they just were not growing. They look fine since the repot, so I am hopefully optimistic for this one. I don't remember what the two species of these were. This one's kind of like a dark green with a black border, and this one has those orangey fiery veins that are so pretty. But I would love for those to start growing and maybe eventually bloom. My Alocasia Grim Reaper gave me this really big, beautiful new leaf, which is, this is the biggest leaf that she's given me so far. So I'm hoping that since I repot her into this larger pot, maybe this next leaf will be pretty big too. And she just gave me this leaf, so she is growing very quickly in true Regal Shields fashion. This is actually a mutation of the Regal Shields, and she's got this really cool texture on the back and really interesting leaf shape. And it likes to point upwards really severely. I just love this one. This is one of my favorite plants. And then let's see, this is the Shoddy Autumn cutting that I took from my mother plant that I moved out here, and this is the Velvet. And I had this in a prop box, and I moved it out here directly from the prop box, and the only issue has been just like a couple of spots of maybe like edema or something here from it drying out. And I don't think that has started rooting yet. We do actually have a couple of roots there on the side, so that is good news, because this is the one that I moved out here because it had gotten, they get so big. The one in my tent is really big, and I would love to be able to grow that one in ambient just because of the size. Like, it's hard to fit that plant anywhere. But this is just one of my all-time favorite Anthurium. It's so beautiful, especially when it gets bigger and it has a ton of the veins coming from here. It's just so pretty and velvety. And then I moved this orchid over here. This is a Phalaenopsis schilleriana, and I believe it has pink blooms, and she is budding up. She has this crazy flower stalk. Like, that is just super bizarre looking. But the blooms look like they're developing pretty well, so hopefully she will do okay over here. She's rooting really well, and her leaves are like really firm, but she's just not giving me any new leaves in a really long time, or even the start of a new leaf. So I moved her over here from that window that you would have seen earlier, just because I thought maybe she'd appreciate like being away from the direct contact with the outdoors and maybe like a little bit lower light. And then I have yet again repot my Homelamina Pink Diamond. This plant has been the biggest pain in the butt for me. I put it in my Anthurium mix this time just to see if there is any change. I've tried this in every substrate, every potting media you can think of, and it just will not grow. I put it now in the Anthurium, like I said, the Anthurium substrate, which is like tree fern, orchid bark, orchiata. So same as my Hoyas. And it is giving me a new leaf pretty quickly. So I'm hoping that maybe if I just keep this pretty damp, it'll do okay, and maybe it'll grow for once. Who knows? This is my Hoya Wonderfill, the Multiflora Wonderfill. These are just cuttings in some sphagnum moss for a really long time. And I just potted this up. This side is doing pretty well. She's really pretty and silvery. I'm not the biggest fan of the Multiflora growth pattern because they just kind of stick out all over the place. So we're gonna have to see if what this does, because I may not keep that one. This side is not doing nearly as well. It's kind of yellowing off. So I don't know if both of those are gonna make it. My Thaumatophyllum williamsii, is that what this is? Yes. Has put out this beautiful new leaf, but it is just like all green. It's supposed to be variegated. This leaf is gorgeous. And I mean, it is still kind of new, but I don't know what is going on with this. Like, I feel like it probably has Polaroid variegation. But this is kind of like stuck in that neon green stage. Like, even the hardened off leaves are like this dark green. So I don't know. I mean, it's healthy, so there is that, and I love the shape. And it's finally rooting. This one's really funny because it has kind of Anthurium-like roots. Like, if you can see that. Which I thought was really bizarre, because it feels more philodendron, but the roots are very Anthurium. And then this is the Aglaonema pictum bicolor that I had found at Home Depot for like $7. She's actually doing pretty well. She is growing. We do have some yellowing on the older leaves as she's rooting up because she was in one of those water globes. But overall, she's doing pretty well. And then, yeah, no updates on my Aglaonema spilt milk. Still being gorgeous. One of my favorites. I guess we should do the bottom portion. Oh, that's funny. Look, that yellow leaf just fell off. The bottom portion of this. This is my Caladium. What is this? Pala something. Caladium palachosii, which I absolutely adore. I love this leaf shape. This the reason that I like this so much is it reminds me of the Alocasia. I think it's like Puncac borneosis or something. It has the same leaf shape. But I tried that Alocasia twice from the Green Escape and just melted. I think probably because it's from tissue culture. But this gives me kind of that same shape as that. And it does have these really cutesy little white spots also. I absolutely love this one. It does not want to dry out. I got this from Equigenera, and when it came in, all of the leaves had died off. But with Caladium, as long as the rhizome is okay, they will typically regrow. And it did regrow. This is its newest leaf, but it does not want to dry out. And then I do have this other Caladium back here that is doing okay. It's really pretty. I don't think anything really to update. This one's finally sizing up my weird Spathiphyllum. I don't know what they call this. It's like a mutant Spathiphyllum or Peace Lily. But it's really pretty. I love that variegation. And my Domino is really loving it over here. I think with the humidifier up above, it is helping out a lot. I swapped my Philodendron Snowdrift into Pond in this little self-watering setup here. And it's finally starting to grow again. I got this on clearance at Kroger for like $8 a year or more ago. And it just has not grown. It keeps dying back. And it was, when I switched over to Pond originally to kind of reroot, was starting to grow again. And I was like, okay, well, it seems to like Pond, so we're just going to leave it in that. And I just switched over to this little self-watering. It would probably help if I moved it away from the window because it's freezing cold out there. We'll just take a little look down here. So we have got in the back my Anthurium Big Bill rerooting for the millionth time. I've had so many issues with that plant. I really honestly think I'm just going to get rid of it. I do really love it when it's really big and beautiful and it has those big, long, ruffly leaves hanging down. But yeah, it's just been this huge pain for me. This is a top cutting of the Aglaonema bicolor. And the lower leaves are dying off, but it is starting to root in the jar. I don't know if I'm going to sell this or pot that back up with the other ones because the other one's pretty full already, so I may just sell it. My Hoya clemensiorum, this is an interesting update. I know you will see some webbing here, just disregard that. That is from an actual spider, not spider mites. But it has finally started growing for me. So it gave me this little leaf. It has been this one leaf since I have gotten it, which was 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, no, it's absolutely insane. And I repotted it, treated it with systemic, and put some granular fertilizer in there, and it's finally started growing again. So we have like that new leaf. We've got a little baby leaf on the other side, if you can see right back there. And the tendril has surprisingly not died off since I rewrapped it around there. Yeah, this is my Spiritus Sancti. So I think I'm going to put this on a moss pole because I'm so proud of this plant. This is like such a big win for me because I was 100% certain this was going to die. It was up to like this leaf was the biggest, nicest leaf that had ever given me up until a couple of months ago. And then it put out this leaf, which doesn't look great, but it is substantially bigger. And then this leaf, and I was like, oh my gosh, are we doing something? And then it just put out this leaf. So I am so thrilled with this. I literally grew this from the tiniest cutting that I had purchased online. So this is like pre-tissue culture for these. I bought it from a cutting from somebody else, and yeah, here we are 3 years later, and I've got my first somewhat decent leaf on it. But I think I am going to switch this out onto a moss pole and get rid of the Rhaphidophora on the moss pole because I do not want too many moss poles going on over there. This is my variegated Alocasia variegated silver dragon. This is one of my all-time favorite alocasias just in general, not just in my collection, and it is finally giving me a new leaf. It has not really grown at all in a really long time, but it hasn't declined either. It's just been in this like stasis. Yes, I don't know what's going on. I'm really hoping that this one will not just decide to melt one day like all of my alocasias seem to do. The bottom's looking pretty good. This is from a corm, so I have higher hopes for that one. Oh yeah, my Xanthosoma is finally growing. So this is my Xanthosoma sagittifolium. This is one of my favorite plants also. This is by no means a rare plant. Honestly, this is pretty common. I think people grow these outdoors pretty commonly. My all-time favorite plant was the Xanthosoma sagittifolium variegated, they call it Frozen Planet, and it melted on me. I tried to regrow it literally 5 or 6 times, and each time it just deteriorated further until it just mushed out altogether. But this one finally gave me a couple of new leaves. It gave me this one after like 2 months of waiting, and then that was the next one, and then this was the first like actual looking leaf that it gave me, and it's about to give me another what looks to be a bigger one. It is rooting super well. in pollen. I'll probably have to give it a bigger pot before too long, but I'm not going to disturb it for the time being. And I just love this one because it's so like bluey, and the stems are really purple and the veins are really purple, and it's just really beautiful. It's kind of velvety too. It's not like super shiny, but I'm very pleased that that has decided to grow for me, because that one has been a really notoriously difficult one in the past for me. And then over here we just have more Hoya rooting. I don't think that there is much to update on here. It's really beautiful sun stressing on my Coloaceana albo. How pretty is that? I'm surprised, honestly, is the sun stressed over here, because I do have Barinas up above, but yeah, I just didn't have enough to sun stress it that severely. And then really not much of anything to note on the bottom, just a couple of my orchids. My Begonia natuensis has put out a couple of new leaves, and these look significantly better than they did before. Before I cut it all the way back and just like lopped all the leaves off, it had this weird, it looked almost like rust to it, like bacterial weird something. And then the leaves that are coming in now look pretty good. So we'll see. I really hope that is the last begonia that I have in my collection. I'm hoping that that one will be okay and come back. From what I hear from other people, they seem to feel that it, in terms of begonia, is pretty easy. So we're going to hope for that one. This one's really pretty. This is my variegated devil's backbone. I can't remember the actual name for it. I grew all of this from one little cutting. It just grows really vigorously, and it propagates so easy when it finally gets going. And it sun stresses this pretty pink color. Like, how pretty is that? I did also have to move my Epiprimnum pinnatum. This is like tricolor mint something or other down here, because it was getting so big on this moss pole. And I'm definitely going to, like, it's at the very top, so I'm going to have to extend it again. And it was running into the Hoyas when I had it up here. So I moved it down here, and I actually love the way that this looks. It gives it more room to kind of stretch out. But it is yellowing a little bit. So that is mildly concerning. This is the second vine that I have. And I just love this one. I feel like Epiprimnum, especially this really angular type, are just some of the prettiest plants when you get them to size up on a moss pole. And it's so funny because they're so common. But yeah, I just love it. I love the, what is that called? Fenestrations on the like main vein here. It just looks so cool. And the variegation is so pretty. I wish the variegation would come in a little bit like more intense on these newer leaves. But yeah, I do still think she just looks really good on the pole there. And then I guess we will, where were we over here? Oh yeah, I was going to do the top of this, I guess. Not much to note over here. I did try to pollinate my Queen of Hearts again with some like kind of off the wall pollen, because that one is really difficult to pollinate from what I understand. So she typically will abort her inflorescences regardless of what you do. So I'm like, I'm just going to keep trying like the weirdest pollen combinations that I have just to see if something sticks. Not really much to update on up here. I did also repot her not too long ago, and I repot my Pallitiflorum because I needed to put it deeper into the pot because the stem was just hanging over so far. So I did do that. And then, yeah, not really any updates up there. My Philodendron heteroecium, this variegated something or other with this really cool variegation that I found at Lowe's on clearance, is growing really well over here. I think that looks so pretty hanging down like that. And then look at this giant leaf. My Hoya, what is this? What is this? I know what this is. Why can I not think of the name? But look at this giant leaf and how dark it is. It's still really soft. It's like hardening off. But oh my gosh, this leaf is freaking huge. That is crazy. I don't know what is going on with this. And it has another leaf right here too that I just put out. And I feel like that one's going to be big too. So I feel like these leaves are going to continue to get bigger and bigger. I do hope that they stay kind of darker. This one looks, this looks nice. I like the way this looks too. But I just tend to like the darker coloration. I did also repot all of these Bird's Nest Anthurium because they were staying damp for too long. And these are another like variant that the roots are really, really thick and tightly compacted. So when they start rooting out, I feel like, at least in my conditions, I need the substrate to dry out pretty quickly, because otherwise the roots just rot off because they're so densely compacted. It's funny because they'll grow out from like this top of the chonk, and it's so dense. Like, for example, this is another one that I repotted my hooker eye. There were no roots in the bottom portion of the pot. They were all at the top, and it had pushed all of the soil down because it was just roots. So I had to kind of clear everything out. This one is one that I really hope will come back. This is a Plowmonii variegated, and I've had this for a really, really long time. It is so beautiful when it starts growing. It has these like really wavy, curly leaves. And I'm hoping that she will start rerooting before too long. She's not deteriorating. This one already has the tendency to kind of yellow off here, especially with me pruning her roots back and repotting her and everything. But this was her most recent leaf, and that one still looks pretty good. If anything, it's way too white, so I hope that she will get some more green back. I preferred this. This is still really high variegation, and they do have the tendency to brown a lot when that happens. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so we've got those. My Monstera Stanleyana Aurea that I love so much has got just the most beautiful variegation. Since I have chopped this up and regrown it, the variegation has improved just a millionfold. Like, look at how gorgeous this is. And they're not really yellowing off really badly. That one is, but that was one of the original propagation leaves. These other ones are just so gorgeous. And then, let's see, repot this one recently, my Curtisii that I had gotten from a big box store. And she is doing surprisingly well because that one is super finicky. My caladiums are doing pretty good back here. We've got, these are all Thai hybrid caladiums, so I do not know what the exact species name is for these. This one is really popping off. It's putting out some babies. We've got all these new beautiful leaves. This one, I don't know what this one is doing. It looks like it's like reverting to its original like type leaf. I mean, this is really pretty, but I preferred it when it was this kind of like weird, splotchy type of like coloration, variegation, whatever going on. And the newest leaf looks like this one, so I feel like this is just what it's going to end up looking like. This one is really beautiful too. This one at least is keeping its coloration on its newer leaves. I love how it's like really purple and dark in the middle with lime green borders. And then we've got this little dark one back here, which is still growing back. So yeah, I'm loving those. I do definitely feel like these are more affected by the cold, and it has definitely been colder than normal in here. That is another multiflora. This is the variegated version, and she is just not doing well. I've had issues with that plant since I've gotten it. This is a little portion of my Hoya pubicalix that I separated out because it was so silvery. So I'm going to see if I can get that silver to continue on the new leaves. Probably have to cut it back a few times. My pink Amazonica that I recently moved out of a prop box. She's rooted pretty well. I'm kind of like leery to repot her though because I feel like she's just going to crash out again. And then I have got down here my Alocasia longiloba, which is actually giving me a new leaf and not dying off. This one I re-rooted from the chonk again for the millionth time. And yeah, she's giving me a new leaf, which is shocking. I mean, this one does look like it's about to start dying off. She likes to be a one-leaf wonder. Yeah, but she feels okay in there. So I don't know. Maybe this will be the time. I separated out the other chonk, which was doing somewhat worse. And we're just going to let her be on her own and see if that helps for any reason. We got another orchid that I moved over here. This is a Paphiopelum, I think. Mendenhall. I don't know. I really like this one for the foliage. The bloom's really cool too. Once it starts blooming, it's a sequential bloomer, which is awesome. I think this was another one that was just like not appreciating all the light that it was getting from being directly in that south-facing window. So I moved it over here and it gave me this really cool, nice looking new leaf. So I think it is going to like it better over here. And then I've got my Hoya, Coraceae silver. I just repotted these cuttings that I had taken of the like really silvery vine that I had just to start it over because it was looking kind of messed up from its growth pattern. I'm going to have a bunch of those props for sale before too long on the website too. I'm hoping to get those listed sometime later this week on the website, which I always list on the website first and then go on to Palm Street, then Etsy. So yeah, if you're interested in Coraceae silver props, I will probably have those maybe Thursday or Friday. Okay, and then moving over to this portion. This is my new little shelf that I had set up. I had these hanging in macrame hangers up here, but it was so difficult to get them out because these get really traily. And these are just other Hoya that I repot. These are not, like this one and this one are feeling a little thin. So I don't really know. This is some kind of verticillata, the inner variegated. I love this one. It's so pretty. So I really hope that it will come back. This is my Bertonier inner variegated. And then we have got, what are you? I don't know why I can't think of the name of this one. This is a really common one that I found at the big box store. I've had that one for a really long time. So yeah, they're just rerooting. That one actually feels a little bit better than the other two. So I hope just with time, they'll kind of reroot and start going again. This is that other bird's nest Anthurium that I recently repot. She is sun stressing, really pink over here in the window, which is something I really love about these. Also, her coloration is just gorgeous. I mean, I just can't get over that. I love how it's like kind of, it's not like a super white variegation. It's kind of tan. And then it sun stresses that pink color. It's so beautiful. It's another one of my favorite plants. And it likes getting a lot of light, which is what's over here in the south facing window. My philodendron Weeks Red, still doing its thing. I had to give it a bigger pole here because it was outgrowing its original little bamboo stake down there. It seems to be liking getting more light over here. That is its newest leaf, and it's got that really pretty red back. This is the one that gets kind of like the brush stroke look. You can see it a little better on that one. It's really beautiful, really easy grower also. I have my Dieffenbachia Big Ben over here, which gave me this new leaf, which is like all variegated almost, but it is yellow, like the Aurea type variegation. It's not like totally white. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if that one starts going all white. I'm definitely going to have to give that a chop. And then not much to update on these. I've got a Schismata glottis, variegated Alocasia cucullata that I recently moved over here to get some more light. My other variegated Spathiphyllum, which did give me this leaf with some pretty variegation on it. Move that one over there also just to get some more sunlight. This is my Homolamina Java. This one is still giving me all green leaves on this one plant. I don't know why. It'll like variegate for a while and then it'll just go back to being all green. I'm wondering if it's like somewhat temperature dependent because in the summer it seems to do this a lot more, but this has just got the prettiest variegation. It did pup again. So I've got this little baby down here that's about to give me a new leaf with really pretty variegation. That was the newer plant that was giving me really pretty variegation again. And then it has put out another all green leaf. I'm lying. Am I lying? Where is this coming from? Yeah, no, this was the new plant. So that was the last leaf, and then it gave me an all green leaf. And then the main plant that I have, all green. And it looks like the new leaf that's coming out is all green again too. So yeah, I don't know. It looks really gorgeous and variegated for a while. And then it just goes back to being all green, which I mean, I still love this plant, even with it being all green. But it's just such a shame when the variegation is so beautiful. I do kind of miss it. And then we got my pink princess over here, which is still, as always, being a problem. She looks great. Like I love the coloration on this one. It's really beautiful and she's variegating fine, but look, why is this leaf so small? Like you won't root into the pole. I am actually keeping the pole moist for a change, which is really a feat for me because I always forget normally. And I did just stick my little baby one down in here also. I had one of her pups from before that I was growing separately, and just to make things a little bit easier, I just went ahead and stuck it in there and it seems to be doing fine. But yeah, this one just will not size up. I would like die a happy death if I could get this one to go to caterpillar, but it just does not want to. Which I guess fortunately it does look pretty at least still. Like the coloration is good. It's not really browning or anything, but I just want you to go to caterpillar with some bigger leaves. Like, why? You're getting so much light. Your pole is staying moist. What do you want from me? I don't understand. And then my Thai constellation has just started growing like crazy out of nowhere. Like this was its biggest leaf that it had for the longest time. And then it gave me this leaf, which was significantly bigger. And then this leaf, which was significantly bigger. And then it gave me this leaf, which is this not like the prettiest Thai constellation leaf you've ever seen? How pretty is that? When I saw this coming out, I was like, I swear to God, if you give me an all white leaf, after all of this, you started growing again, and then you give me an all white leaf, but it was fake. It was a fake out because it was just a half moon. I love how when they have these really thick central veins, the half moon, it like splits it directly down the middle. But yeah, I'm so pleased with her. And then last one I'm going to talk about over here, we have my little variegated money tree, who is sizing up really well. Like that was her most recent leaf. And the leaves come out this like super variegated Aurea type variegation. So gorgeous. This is like my favorite variegation on this plant. So beautiful. But it does fade off to green after so long. So you can see like it's like more muted there as it fades down. But it is just so beautiful. And the leaves are getting so big. The only thing is she's like wilting over. I'm going to have to find some way to, I'll probably just do like a bamboo stake or something to kind of support her because I feel like these leaves are getting so big. It's just pulling her down. I keep trying to rotate her, but it's like no matter what I do, she just wants to droop down to this one side. So I'm probably going to just put a bamboo stake and tie her up to that. I think that would help. And then I did want to show you a couple of my orchids because they are in bloom. Oh yeah, and we've got my Norfolk pine, which is looking absolutely gorgeous. As always, this is another one of my all-time favorite plants. Pretty common. You can get these for super cheap for pretty big around Christmas time, which is where I got this. I got this whole thing from Home Depot for $25, I believe. And you can see all of her new little, like the lime green growth on the ends. This thing is so beautiful. I just love looking at this. Like it's so aesthetic. Just the way that it grows, and it's so lush with like all its little trees in there. I couldn't be happier with this plant. It's been super easy too. This is another south facing window. So it's getting light. I don't know. How far is that? Like 4 feet back from the south facing window. And it is partially covered too. So it gets like some direct sun throughout the day, but not super intense. And that seems to be perfect for her. But yeah, I will never not love this plant. I'm going to love this when it gets like really big and those like fronds are like stretching out all over the place. I do not know where I will put it at that point, but do look forward to it. We will figure that out in the future. Oh yeah, my Gloriosum. So this is my Philodendron Gloriosum that I have growing out of this hanging wall planter. And I love the way this is going. So she is, like you can see, she's kind of hanging over there. I have some fishing wire that I use to tie her back down just so that, you know, she doesn't come toppling out of there. But she looks so good. Like I love the way this looks hanging down. Move over here so you can see it a little better. How pretty is that? Like with all of her leaves coming out. That's her newest leaf right there in the middle. You can see it has kind of like the pinkish veination. And then she hardens off to this really dark, beautiful color. And she's just doing really well over here. She seems to like the light conditions and does not mind hanging at all. Like I mentioned before, I did recently repot these two guys because they're really struggling. I think their soil was just really hydrophobic. And then we have got some orchids over here blooming. These are a couple of my more recent ones that I got from Lowe's on clearance. This is like a mini Phalaenopsis. Maybe? I don't know. Maybe it is a full-size Phalaenopsis. I feel like these flowers are really small, but the leaves look like a normal size. I don't know. I'm not an orchid expert, but I love the combination of purple and yellow. So incredibly beautiful. And then this is my most recent one. Again, this is like kind of purpley. And it's funny because it's like these 3 leaves are yellow, but these 2 are white. I don't know if you can see that in the lighting. I just thought that one was so beautiful. And this one is fragrant. It has this really soft floral fragrance that I notice sometimes. I think it's like mostly in the morning. But yeah, I saw these blooms. I was like, absolutely, my breath was taken away. How beautiful are these? Yeah, I just cannot get over that. This one is blooming for me again. Sorry for the crazy backlighting. Hopefully my camera will do an okay job of canceling it out. But it's so bright today. The sun's coming straight in the windows. I can't remember which orchid this is. This is do I have a tag in this one? No, I do not. But really cool blooms on this one with those little frilly purple interior, like lips. So beautiful. And this one just finished. This is a Paphiopedilum. That one just finished blooming. I'll put a photo of that on the screen, but I love this one for the foliage. Also has that really spotty foliage. And then we have a bunch that are getting ready to bloom. So I have this one. This is another like maybe mini Phalaenopsis because this one's a little bit smaller. That's getting ready to bloom. I've got this one that has got 2 bloom spikes on it. And then, no, I think that's a root. Okay, so yeah, we've got those 2 that are about to bloom also. And I hope these flowers actually last for a while because I'm just so in love with them. Okay, we are in my office now. This is what the setup looks like Currently, we're going to talk about this last. This is the new little shelf that I'm using for my seedlings. I have my prop bins over here, and then my AC Infinity tent, which is a 5x5, and just obviously my desk and stuff over here. But this is what the tent is look like currently. Give you a little overview here. So yeah, she is slam packed. We are, as always, running out of space. I have got my giant. This is the giant Shadionum. I keep saying Shadionum. But this is the giant one that the prop that I have growing in ambient in the living room came from. That was her newest leaf. I did kind of mess that up by trying to get her to go into ambient. That was one of the original leaves, but she does have a new leaf coming in right there. I am going to have to move her out of the way because I cannot get into the tent if I do not. I got a lot of stuff in here that I had just kind of recently potted back up after rehabbing from me swapping out the soil, the substrate mixture that I was using, because I was using sphagnum moss when I had them out in my living room. Switched them to just tree fern, orchiata, horticultural charcoal, perlite in here, and they seem to like that a lot more because the humidity is normally around like 90 or 95%. So a lot of them are just kind of coming back now. This is one that I actually just won from Brendan over at Buzzplants. This is a Carla, what is this? RA 4x1 by OG1. Sorry, Sully was demanding to be let in here. She was a little bit beat up in shipping, but just absolutely beautiful plant. I like how the veins are kind of a little bit heavier on this one because I don't have one that's like this so much. Most of the other ones I have are more like minimal veining. So I do kind of like that just for a change of pace, and the sinus and everything is really beautiful. She is flowering. Also, she has some pollen on there that I need to collect. But yeah, love that one. I'm so fortunate to have won this. Of course, Brendan's plants are always pretty incredible. So again, that is Buzzplants if you're interested in his stuff. This is one of my favorite plants, but this one is coming back now from having root rot. She definitely has some new root growth happening, so I'm not too worried about her. But it's just going to take a little bit of time. This is a Carla PM3 by a Carla Debile. Any type of hybrid with Debile in it, I absolutely love. This is another one that I got from Phytorot Plant Co. This is, what is this? Some kind of Debile something or other. Pap Biva crossed with Red Crystal. Debile, whatever. Really beautiful bronzy emergent. And of course the texture. I love the texture, but this one was like really narrow, which I thought was really pretty. I did just repot that one also. So yeah, pretty painting, but the texture and the narrowness is what I really liked about that one. And then this is a really pretty one. This is from Max Aeroids, which is, he's got some really incredible plants. He's on Instagram right there, Max Aeroids. But I shot from him on Palm Street too. And this is his Carla Max 2 crossed with Pacific Coast Pap. And it is so flat and black. I just cannot wait for that one to size up to kind of see what that looks like. This one is one that has like really cool texture. It kind of gives the rhino skin, elephant skin, what do they call it, texture. This is an SKG gray something or other. SKG gray Black Widow Michelle. And this one's from Solar Crime Gardens, I believe. I also bought this in a live at Palm Street. Yeah, she's really beautiful. My favorite thing about that one is definitely the texture. And this is one of my plants that I just talked about in my Anthurium favorites. This is the Black Widow Michelle hybrid from Brendan, also at Buzzplants. It's gorgeous, that veining. She's out of this world. My little chocolate crystallinum hybrid here. She's been struggling. I don't know what her deal is. She's still not rooting. This one's veins are so nice. This is another one, again, it's like, you don't really know until they start sizing up exactly what it's going to look like in the end. But I'm hoping these veins kind of continue. That's like the marker of the chocolate crystallinum, is these really like forky veins at the bottom. So gorgeous. And then my Bessier, my wide sinus Bessier magnificum hybrid, just put out a new leaf that is so pretty. Perfect. Keeping that wide sinus. Let's see, what else do we have going on? My FTG crystallinum is being kind of a pain. It did give me this new leaf. But yeah, some of his old leaves are yellowing off, so I don't know. This is a pretty cool one. This is a Brong, Anthurium Brong, which looks like to be some kind of King of Spades hybrid that I got from Cartel Dawn. But I just think the veining is really pretty. You see a little more right there. And it does have that really thick texture that's very King of Spades like also. That is a dark and handsome red velvet cake from Doc Block. My all-time favorite plant, Anthurium paradoxum. This is that rugulosum uruki that I talked about also. That one is still rooting. This is the mother plant for my first hybrid, which I'm going to show you some of the seeds here in a second. I think I'm going to have to actually move this one, all of this out of the way so that I can get in here. This is a variegated red vein dark phoenix crossed with itself. And this is another one that recently got repot. I don't know, can you see the variegation on that? Maybe a little bit. It's like very prominent when it comes in and it fades off to this kind of muted type variegation. I don't know. I can see it in real life, but it's definitely not super prominent as it gets older. But it does have a very interesting look to it. I don't know why. I keep thinking like reptilian for some reason. That's just kind of like what it feels like to me. But yeah, that one will be an interesting one to see kind of grow out. Let me see. Is there anything new up here? This is the Carla that I just talked about. That is from Grant. That's one of his abhorrent hybrids. That is from Brendan also. My variegated seedlings that I just repot into a bigger pot because they were sizing up so much. That variegated King of Spades back there. So pretty. This one I'm very pleased about. This is the Anthurium Alto Fulminance, I don't know. I got this from Steven at Steventhurium, and it's finally rooting. I had issues with this one too. Just regrowing it in sphagnum moss because I was trying to figure out what it likes. But this is a really cool one when it gets bigger. Beautiful plants. And then down in this area, I have a bunch of red crystallinum hybrids. Some of these are from Cartel Dawn. I think this one is. I really love this one. Let me zoom you in a little bit. It's got this really red sinus. This one's a Black Widow Michelle Carla. And, oh, sorry y'all, I'm trying to get in through all these shelves. It's got this really like iridescent purple emergent, which is really pretty. This one is from Cartel Dawn. We've got this really long, pretty leaf on my other. This is my other dark and handsome red velvet cake. This one is much longer and narrower versus the other one is thicker. This one's a really cool plant. This is a Midnight Velvet hybrid from Hoffmanii at Midnight Garden. And this one has turned out like super narrow. So that was his most recent leaf. Very dark, narrow. This was its most recent one. I did recently repot it, so it did get a little bit damaged, but you can see how narrow that one is. Gonna be really pretty. I feel like every time I come in here, I just get overwhelmed by all of the plants and don't know what to talk about. This is a Anthurium Carla crossed with a Circus Peanuts. Or I'm sorry, it's the opposite way. It's Circus Peanuts crossed with Carla. And that was its most recent leaf. This is another one of my favorites. This is from Scott. Just repot that one into a bigger pot. And then we have got my Rolltilantii down here, still doing pretty good. My Anthurium, either Moodianum or Red Beauty. I don't know how to differentiate at this point. Finally gave me a new leaf. I put this one in here in sphagnum moss as a rehab because it wouldn't grow. This is a really pretty one. This one had really cool blister variegation when it was small, but it does look like it's going to grow out of it, which does happen sometimes. You see how cool that blister variegation is? It is a Bessier crossed with a Bevet, crossed with Mr. Worldwide, which is a more flat sinus plant. Emergent's really pretty. We've got my Dorito Port clone that I got from Max here. That's most recently, so it's starting to flatten out also. And this is a Spider Bessier cross. This is a Papillium crossed with Circus Peanuts. And then we have got this little wall that I have some little babies hanging from. This is a mutualist hybrid. This is the kind of like red spider hybrid. This one crashed out on me. Trying to get that one to regrow. Just some various little guys up here. This is another one of my favorites, Pulcachense. I got this from Equigenera. It's got these really rigid, cool, pillowy leaves. Okay, I think that is going to be it for right this second, just because I did just do my Anthurium favorites. And kind of as these start growing and stuff, I'll talk about them a little bit more. Most of this is just seedlings that I'm growing out still to try to figure out if I want to keep all of these or if I want to let some of these go. And then these upper shelves are plants that I definitely want to keep, as well as a lot of this over here. So we're still kind of like whittling through things to figure out who's going to make the final cut, who's going to stay and who's going to go. Because once these plants all get bigger, like they're obviously not all going to fit in here. And I just do not have any more room at present for them. Again, like I said, these are just my prop bins. So this is my new seedling setup. I did also make a video on the setup of this whole Anthurium tent, which I will link in the description if you're interested in that. But I'm using the same shelves over here, which I just got off of Amazon. They're just like metal wire shelves. And then these are the Glowrium lights. They do look a little bit different than Barina lights. They have this kind of like rigid backing on them, which I guess is to kind of like disperse heat. And one of the biggest things that I like about these is they are dimmable. So as we know, Barina lights, not dimmable. That is one of my main complaints with those. I love the fact that these are dimmable. And these kind of all work and function as a singular setup. So in my case, it's like I know that I want to use all 6 of these for this one setup that I'm doing. They all connect together and they function as one. So when you dim them, they all dim together. When you do the timer, they all do the timer together. So that is great in the scenario where you need all of the lights for one area. Probably wouldn't be the best if you're trying to split the lights up over different areas. Like if you wanted to put them on a couple of different shelves, just because they all have to be connected to the same plug-in in this setup. I don't know if they have different light configurations that maybe have like 2 or 4 or whatever more lights. But yeah, I think I'm actually going to have to get another set for these last 3 shelves when I get to that point. But at this point, I mean, this is plenty of room because I only have the one hybrid that I'm working with right now. But yeah, love the fact that they are dimmable. Let me get the little plug over here. So they're all connected, very similar to Barina. One of the things that I do like better about Barina is the fact that they have when you're connecting 2 of these together, like rather than having this big wire in the middle that I had to zip tie, they just have the little plug-in that like lets this light plug directly into this light to make it one light essentially. So I do prefer that in this scenario because like I don't need this big cord to be in between them, but it does come in handy if you want to spread them out further from one another across a shelving unit. In my case, it wasn't really helpful, but I guess it is the option. The option is there if you do need it. And then they just connect like from this end down to this one, and then those 2 connect together in the same way. So it just kind of like winds back and forth. And then I've got the controller over here behind my curtain. Okay, so we have got the timer, which is 3 hours, 9 hours, 12 hours. I don't know what this is. Watering. Yeah, I'm not sure what that option is for, but this is the dim. So I'm going to click that just so that you can see it kind of. So it goes down and then it goes all the way back up and then back down again. I do have them partially dimmed for these seedlings because I don't think they need that much light. But yeah, all 6 lights are connected to this one controller. So everything kind of dims and turns on and off by itself without you having to do like smart outlets for every single light or find a way to connect them all together so they all come on and off at one time. Another thing that I really like about these lights, this is something really small, but I've noticed this with the other light that I have out in my living room too, that like dual-headed one, is they have a soft on and off. So when you turn it on or you turn it off, instead of it just like cutting on and off, it kind of fades out, which is just, it's like a very small kind of pleasant thing to have. Not necessary, but it is really nice. It is something that I notice and I do appreciate. I've got some of my props from my other plants here at the bottom that I'm probably going to be selling, but they get light from this setup that I have going on over here with the Sancy lights. So honestly, I think those are fine. But I do like the dimmable lights just for the Anthurium because they do tend to get, if you give them too much light, they will get chlorotic really quickly and kind of bleach out and just not look so good. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. Give you another look at that. So I've got them like the shelving set up closer at the top because I'm just going to have these meal prep containers up here with my little seedlings. And then I'm going to have these bigger seedling trays once they grow out. This is just some of the plants that I've grown from seed from other people. And I move those out here just to have some more room in my tent so I can monitor these a little bit more. So an update on these, they are all getting their little roots. You see their little fuzzy roots in there. Let me pop this open. This is so much fun. I literally check on these every day and I'm just like, so much wonder, you know, like just the fact that these are actually growing. Like, I don't know what I thought was going to happen. Like, maybe I thought they were all just going to melt or something. But look at all their little fuzzy roots. That is so exciting. They'll probably be putting out their first little leaves before too long. Cannot wait to see that. Seal those back up. And then I do also just have, again, these are just some seeds that I've gotten from other people that are growing out over here. This is one that I'm really interested in. This is a Pulmonii S2 that I got from Steven also. It just put out its second little leaf. So that'll be interesting. That's another like cool peltate Anthurium that I really like. But yes, I'm really loving the setup. It is like just wide enough that I can still walk through here pretty easily. And I've got like obviously like my recording stuff over there, just ignore that. But I've got plenty of room for like my bins on this side and my little shelf on this side with the tent. I almost just tripped over Sully. Sorry, buddy. All right, so that is going to be it for the kind of like setup review in here. If you're interested in these lights from Glowrium, I will link these in the description so that you can check them out. I don't know if I have a discount code with them. If I do, I will post that in the description as well. But yeah, definitely really liking these so far. I would say these versus Barina. Barina is better if you're using the lights across different areas that are not easy to connect. I prefer Glowrium for areas where you are going to link them all together because they're already linked. You don't have to worry about like a smart outlet or anything. You can just plug it straight in the wall and turn the timer on. And I really, really like the fact that they are dimmable. All right, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for sticking around and hanging out with me for this little updatey walkthrough type deal we had going on. As always, if you're interested in shopping any of the plants in my collection, you can head over to my website, shadowandfaith.com, or on Etsy at Shadow and Faith, or Palm Street at Leaves with Less to see what I have currently available. I will be doing a restock hopefully later this week, which will be a ton of Hoya. So if you are into Hoya, that will be the restock that is for you. But if you like this video and you want to see more content like this from me, please like, please subscribe. It means so much to me and it helps the channel so much. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.